All right. Welcome to the project window. This is literally from my project window. This is where I record these. I wanted to discuss the. There's a plethora of things I want to discuss actually, but the main thing is everyone's discussing this little Dirk situation, right? And him now, he's obviously he's been apprehended, and there's a lot of discussions to be had on whether or not number one, is he an idiot for how he set all this up? Allegedly, of course. But, I'm hearing things like he put the shooters on private planes. These people were paying for things with the OTF business cards. They rented cars. They paid for ski masks. And they're on surveillance doing these things. So, not smart at all. And then on top of that, you know, there's discussions on whether or not, was he being hyped up by the fans with the whole Slide for Vaughn movement? Is it the media with, people like Trap Lord Ross, academics, etc., when they do long form videos about all the crimes that, have been taking place throughout these rivalries, whether it's, the OTF situations with FBG Duck or the recent situation with Quando Rondo, King Von, all of that good stuff. But I think there's a take that seems to be lost on everyone because I have not heard this take. The only person I've heard this take from, and if there's anybody out there who has had this take and I'm incorrect, so be it. But the one person I did hear this take from was FBG Duck's mother. She was the only person I've heard discuss the fact that should these record labels and should the record industry be, should they be taken to court for essentially funding criminal organizations? I think that's the one thing that nobody discusses. It's like the elephant in the room, but I don't even. It's hard to call it an elephant in the room when I don't think anybody notices the elephant. You know what I'm saying? But I truly think that these labels are complicit in funding criminal empires, and that's we have to say that clear and in black and white. And I think it's something that people don't necessarily want to say because especially from these platforms, obviously they need the record industry to continue to thrive and exist. And to a certain degree, I mean, I love hip hop. I grew up on hip hop, um, and I'm well versed on hip hop. And you guys will eventually get to see that through the videos that I place up here. Um, so I love the hip hop industry. I grew up on rap, love gangster rap, but what we're experiencing now is gangster rap in its final form. You know, this is the craziest that it's ever been, and I find it difficult to believe that people don't realize that. I think some of this stuff is by design. You know what I'm saying at this point. Um, so yeah, I truly think that the record labels as a whole need to be held accountable. And the way these types of things can happen is if some of the victims' families, for instance, let's say FBG Duck's mother has been talking about it, but let's get more rappers that have been killed via gun violence. If more of them got together, their families, that is, got together and created a class action lawsuit of some sort against some of these record labels that have been bankrolling these rappers, knowing that you give this rapper X amount of dollars, you know damn well he's going to turn around. He's going, we know that it's going to turn around and end up being some AKs in a couple of guys' hands, and that money is what put those guns in those people's hands. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty obvious. We've seen the situations even in Jacksonville with Fulio. We've seen this a lot, time and time again, and I think we're always discussing the rappers that are a part of this stuff, and the artists and their entourages and their gangs, what have you, whatever you want to call them. But nobody ever discusses the guy that's signing that check for those guys, and I'm pretty sure the person who's signing the check, the the people who work with them from the label, they know what time it is. These people are not blind to the fact that they are funding gang wars in several cities in America. How are they able to get away with this? And it's the rapper that has to get a RICO charge and go sit down for the next 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, etc., a life sentence. And the shadowy record label person is just going to sign the next young whoever from whatever city, and rinse repeat, and again and again. We have to realize this shit is by design, and people are profiting off of this. And I think it's about time that we held record labels accountable for this stuff by actually putting some cases on these people. Now, I know a lot of you will hear this and be like, oh, so do I want the rap industry to basically die? You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, in a sense, it could revert into, okay, well, let's not put any budgets towards rap at all. And I think, truthfully, especially in today's day and age with streaming, Spotify, etc., you cannot kill a genre of music. You can make it less popular for sure, but I think people who want to make hip hop, aggressive hip hop, etc., they're still going to do so. But if someone is definitely, clearly going to have a John Gotti type of mentality towards the money that you're going to give them from a label, then don't give it to them. Like, people have to be like, at once upon a time, at some point, I'm sure, like in the 90s, certain rappers, okay, we're gonna give you this deal, but yo, you have to leave the streets alone. I Here's a great example: Biggie Smalls. One of the greatest to ever do it. You know, he dabbled in what he dabbled in, and at one point that had to stop. He had to actually be a musician full time. I'm not saying that you know dudes gotta be pussy now, and like, I think there's just a difference between you know still being yourself and not taking that money and then morphing into, like I said, these guys are morphing into John Gotti, Scarface, etc. So I think the labels need to exercise more discernment to realize who they're giving this money to, and they're not going to magically gain a moral compass. So that's going to take, I think, things like holding a fucking case over their head for them to form a moral compass of some sort, or for them to lose a lot of money in a class action lawsuit of some sort. Um, like I said, I have nothing against the hip hop industry. I love hip hop, love rap, but this shit has got to stop for the future of the black community, point blank. And that's why, controversially, I agree a lot with a lot of things that Charleston White says sometimes. I know that's a very I don't know how people feel about him in total, but I know a lot of people don't like him. So, but I tend to agree with him when he talks about um Dirk, and when he talks about the James, the Prince family. Like, I agree with that because we need to slowly maybe a little faster than slowly, but we need to start to surgically remove that element out of the black community, or at least depower it to a certain degree, simply because, like I said, I feel like it's gone overboard at this point. Like, it was good music, and some of it still is, but we have to like start to really look in the mirror of like, what are we promoting out there? What are, like, there's just so many debates happening with this Dirk stuff, but this guy Dirk, I think he has like at least, I think he might be worth at least 20 to 30 million. What are we doing? Like this, I'm sure right now he might be sitting there thinking like, "Yo, what was I doing? What was I thinking?" And if that hasn't happened yet, it will eventually, because there's so many other things you could be doing in life, especially with a blessing like all that cheese, and to throw it all away. And I get it, your man's was killed and got to slide for him and all that, but I think um, something that really caught me throughout watching all this stuff about this case was the the video of Wallow talking to Dirk and the OTF people during the $1 million worth of game pod, and him going into that in-depth story about his brother being murdered and how he had to basically let go of that fantasy of wanting to murder his brother's murderer to move into the phase of life that he's in now. And I think that shit is so important because people, if Dirk would have followed through with the advice that he was being given at that point, he wouldn't be here right now in this mess. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe he still would be. Who knows? But I don't think he would be. So to end this, 'cause I feel like I'm babbling, but to end this, I really hope that at least, at the very least, what this could do is it could get the next crop of street rappers to realize, hey man, when I get this deal, I'm gonna let go of that element of my life little by little until it's not a part of my zone. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the smartest way to go about it, because I think the goal is, if you're getting this deal, is to get out and to live and enjoy. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to become John Gotti. Like I feel like things have gotten backwards. Like I remember guys came into the game with street cred, and then they became rappers. I feel like rappers are coming into this like with not that much cred, and all of a sudden it's like, I want to end my rap career as John Gotti. Like I think guys are coming in with it backwards. Like, and I said, and to end this, I said to someone the other day while discussing this, if the rappers before this generation had that mentality, we would hip hop would have already died. I mean, some say it's already dead, but I digress. Hip hop would have already died if Jay Z, Biggie, Pac, etc. We can take it to the early 2000s. Cameron, um, Nelly, whoever, 50, whoever, man. If these guys had carried that mentality of, yo, I'm not in here to like drop classic albums and make great records. I'm trying to be John Gotti right now. I'm trying to blow up my infamy. Then hip hop would have already died a long time ago. I think we need to hold each other responsible. I know people don't like to be held responsible, but I truly think we need to, in order to see this genre get back to where it could be, and to see the community a little safer, and to not promote this shit to our youth and to ourselves. I know I'm rambling. This is my first video. I don't really do YouTube much, but if y'all rock with it, y'all will rock with it. And if not, you'll never hear this. This is my thoughts. Project Window. Peace.